Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me on another episode of The Urban Gardener. Today we're going to harvest up that elephant garlic. We're going to mulch up some of the corn that I have here in the alleyway. We're going to plant out some of those onion sets that I have, and I think I've got another planting of beans that we're going to put out, along with a couple of eggplant that have been waiting around a while to go out. So I hope that they'll end up producing for us. So we'll have plenty to look forward to here in this episode. Let's get growing. All right, I think it's about time that we pull out this elephant garlic. I let it sit in maybe just a week or so longer than the other garlic. We're gonna pull it out and see what we got. I've never grown this garlic before, so ought to be in for some sort of surprise. All right, so as you can tell, leaves are pretty browned off. There's still plenty of green left in them, so we're kind of applying the same principle as we were looking for in our soft neck garlic that we grew on the other side of the plot there. All right, let's see what we got in there. Look at the size of that bulb. Looks like it's putting off some small side. I don't know what that is. That's something I've never seen before. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Look at that. Another big old So in this case, I do believe that this was probably grown just a little bit too long, I believe. Is what we're looking at is splitting, the bulb splitting. So we did end up with 5 really nice sized solid elephant garlic heads. So we got little, what are like little like seed cloves. And some splitting of the bulbs. So as I try this experiment one more time this next season, we will probably follow along and pull them out right around the same time we pull out our other garlic. So all right, basically what we got to do today is get on with our project, moving our leaf mulch over. But first I got to get some weeding done, and then after that I'm going to put in a layer of compost, and then we'll move that leaf mulch over. First, let's get that weeding done. Here we've weeded out through and in between our corn stalks here. Now a lot of this overgrown weed right here, which is kind of outside of the garden, we are going to spray down with a vinegar spray. As I stated before, we're going to layer out some compost that I have, and we'll put that around the base of the corn here. And after that, like I said, we'll move our leaf mulch over, and in the front area we're going to plant out some onions. Let's talk about that. So if you've seen the previous episode where we cut back our onion starts here, as you can tell, they don't look very well. I did kind of neglect these a little bit, and they're, as you can tell by the smaller bulbs that are forming and everything, they've been in here a little too long. So we've held them off a little bit too much, and they started getting scorched by some of the sun, lack of water. As I said, sometimes as a gardener you're involved with a lot of projects, and some things kind of get away from you a little bit, and this is one of those that happened to me. So one of the really cool things about onions, though, is they, like some other plants in your garden, are very, very resilient. They can go through a lot of stress in their growing process, and they will continue to grow. And I've had this happen before. I've also gotten some onion set starts that were really, really shabby looking from a nursery or something, I think 2 years ago, and I wasn't really sure about them at all, but they ended up being really, really nice onions by the end of the season. So in the long run, I hope that I'm right here as well. So we'll put these in the ground after we get that done taken care of with the corn. All right, so Now we've got a nice layer of compost on there, which will also help add some good nutrients for these plants at this point in time in their growth. And we'll be able to layer out this mulch now. We'll move it over and get started on those onions. Take a look down in there now. We've got a nice thick layer of mulch now. So with all of that compost down in there as well, after we water that in really nice, should be holding and retaining that water really good. And really digging on all of those new nutrients coming out of all of that compost now too. So what we're going to do now is we're going to loosen this up. I'm going to make a couple of trenches, one for our red onions and one for our Walla Walla onions. All right, let's go. So now, as you can tell, what I did there is I didn't turn the soil. What I did is I just used the garden fork to loosen up the top layer there so that I can have some nice loose soil. And then what I will do is I'll make those trenches now, okay? So no turning the soil, just loosening it up, okay? All right, so you see how we put in 2 trenches here. Now we're gonna get down and we're gonna put in our onions. Okay, so we got our onion sets here in the dirt, and so what we're basically gonna do is we're just gonna pull these guys up as best we can. Just kind of loosen them up out of the soil. They should just come right up out of there. And as we do that, and we've got our little sets, we're just going to kind of set them right along there. Walla Wallas along the back side here, the white onions. Just going to kind of line them up like so. right, now, so we have them all aired in, lined in here. Let me take you down and show you real quick. Now the red onions, as you can tell, they definitely took it a little worse, their treatment over the last couple of weeks. Our Walla Walla white onions in the back, they look still really good. Like I said, I'm pretty sure these will all just turn out real fine. They'll be looking really good here in a few weeks. So let's plant these in. All you're simply gonna do here is roll the dirt, just like that. Kind of stand them up a little bit. Roll dirt on them. So stand it up a little bit. Same here in the front. Stand it up. Some dirt right around it. Same thing. We're going to basically just do that right down the way here. There we go. All planted in. So now, should have some nice onions growing in here pretty soon. We still got some leftovers over here that we will plant around in other parts of the garden. But it's really nice to see this all put together. Just a real quick update, our big zucchini in our above ground raised bed planter has just produced a couple of really nice zucchinis. Time to harvest those up. So we still got some of these broccoli plants in our above ground raised bed here, and we've harvested out most of our greens. Most everything is either bolted or been eaten, but yet I still have a couple of these broccolis that haven't produced a broccoli head yet, so we're going to give those a little bit more time, allow that to happen. But in the meantime, even though I already have a bunch of beans already planted out in the other gardens, we're going to go ahead and give a second planting of bush beans here. Okay, we'll fill in some bush beans there, and over here we're going to get back and we'll put in some of those pole beans as well that we talked about doing in the previous episode. So a lot of things while filming don't go quite as expected. When you're filming different scenes and everything on a phone like I have, it only has a certain amount of memory. So at a certain points in time, I'll be filming and have hit the record button. I can't see anything because it's turned around there, so I just go about filming. And after spending quite a bit of time filming a couple of different scenes about planting out some onions and some beans, I got to the memory on there and found out that it hadn't been recorded. So I went out and I did a bunch of recording that didn't happen. So I'm going to take you along here real quick, and we're going to take a look at some of the things that I did, give you a little brief summary of what I planted out. Okay, starting right here. We've got our bean trellis here, which is good. We planted out down here a bunch of those Blue Lake pole beans. So we got some Blue Lake pole beans there. And right out front, I planted out some more of our onion sets. All right, take you over here onto the patio. Take a look at some of the other things we planted out. All right, so we did get down under our trellis here. Made a couple of rows of pole beans right here. So those should grow up right through there, right up our bean trellis. And in our other above ground raised bed container, I did put in some more of those onion sets that we had left, and a couple of red onions there in the front. So we'll have a nice little onion patch there, bean patch there going in. Got our pole beans back that way, and we planted more out over that way. Right behind me here in our back alleyway garden area, we've got this one patch there left. I'm gonna go ahead and plant out the rest of our bush beans, and I also have a couple of eggplants that are probably a little late in the season and a little small. We're gonna give them a shot and see how well they do too. There we go, all planted out. We've got 3 different eggplants planted out there, and put out some of those bush beans. So check back with those in another couple of weeks. All right, that about does it for this episode. We did get a lot of things done here around the garden, and Coming up here real soon, I'm going to make a garden tour video so that we can get around and see how things are going. It's been a while since I did the last garden tour video. Things have been growing great. There are some things that aren't growing as well. We're going to get along and check all those things out here real soon. We'll go out to the community garden as well as here at the home gardens, and we'll also get up on the rooftop, check out those peppers that are going up there. Before I end this episode, I just wanted to send out my appreciation to those of you out there who had a chance to check out my last vlog. It was a story I really had to tell, kind of get out there. It was a tough story. I hope you get a chance. I'll put an iCard above right now for those of you who haven't had a chance to go check it out. Get over there, check that video out. Tell me what you think of it in the comments there. As far as this episode's concerned, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, concerns, comments, suggestions, or anything at all, hit me up in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. And hit the subscribe button. Follow along with upcoming episodes. And until then, we'll see you on the next episode of The Urban Gardener. So when you got gardeners for friends, sometimes when you open your door, you get squash. Carl, hey, are you gonna say hi? Hey, you should look both ways before you cross the street.